This morning I thought I would start a little tutorial on how to uh, add all of the files on a Ubuntu 20.04 virtual drive for Hyperledger Fabric blockchain to build a test network. And basically it's so that eventually you can, if you're interested, build the Hyperledger network for smart contracts and stuff like that. I got kind of interested in this with the recent supply chain issues, and so I just started trying to learn it, and as well as cryptocurrency. I've been interested in that a little bit too, because basically I don't trust the government's ability to manage all the money with all the debt and everything. So I've just been interested. But what I'm going to do first is explain a little bit about what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a bunch of the code in to get to the point where your Visual Studio, you can run that test network and then work on your smart contracts through that, build your network. But I'm assuming that first of all, everybody will be familiar with how to set up a virtual drive. If you're not, I mean, put it on a computer. But I built up the virtual drive with Ubuntu 20.04, and it's running Visual Studio as my test environment. And I'm starting with a new build, as you can see here. So everything's as you would build it with a new build of Ubuntu. And I'll try to be clear, but unfortunately a few years ago, during an operation at a veterans hospital, they cut one of my vocal cords. So I'll try to be clear, but you should be able to see it, the code on the screen. And there is a failure at the end, which I'll show you how to fix so that you'll have a test environment in Visual Studio that will work. So I'll start by loading a bunch of the code, and I'm assuming you're familiar with the command line in Linux. So that's what I'm building everything off. So let me get to the starting the prerequisites for the test environment, and I'll start typing them in. And some of these will take a little bit of time to run, simply because your server, your processor, your RAM, if you're on a slow machine, it won't work quite as well or as quick. So, and there are some minimums on a system requirement, like 4 gig RAM, stuff like that. So, some will run faster when you're loading these than others, but you just have to be a little patient. And as I go through these, you'll see the command on the screen, so I'm not going to explain what each one of them is. They're just the files that need to be there for the test network within Visual Studio. This one is Git. I will explain a little. This is, we're going to be working with a GitHub. So And every time I hit the return, it's because I'm answering yes, which you'll, if you've done command line, you'll know that. And some of these commands are loaded as a default with this operating system, but I'll like make, and I'll just load it because it's requiring or saying it wants to do an auto remove because of an old file. And there are commands that are like make, like unzip, that are already loaded, and you don't really have to do anything with it, but I'll just show you it's already installed. And G++. But I'll just run through them anyway. libtool. Some of these are small files, so they don't take too long. JQ. LTDL dash DEV. Docker, which you're going to need in Visual Studio. And Docker Compose. Next, what I'm going to do is use the browser on the virtual drive. Because I want to download the Go file. It's a language that they're using in Visual Studio or for the Hyperledger. So I'm just going to download the file, and I'm doing it for Linux. Once I've downloaded the file, it's going to download it to the downloads directory. So I'm going to just get back. Yeah, I'm in the home directory currently, so I'm going to go to the download directory, extract the file here with a tar. And then I'm going to move the Go directory up to my home directory, because I want to create the paths and all I'm doing is setting up the environment so that it knows to go to the Go directory from the home directory. Now I'm setting up the path to point to the binary files within the Go directory. And I'm going to run the curl command. This is a pipe for the next command. Inline. And it will come up and say that it's taking about 20 seconds. You just have to be patient. And it's unpacking and loading. Okay, then I'm going to, it's saying at the very end, I'm just going to run their output with an update and a install of yarn. Okay, now I'm going to load Node.js. And I'm going to install JDK11 with Maven. Some of these take a little bit of time. Now I'm going to install Gradle version 6.3. This is just installing from the https services.gradle.org distributions file. I have a capital P switch in there, and it's just putting it into the temp directory. Now I'm going to unzip it with a Q switch. Into the OPT directory. And then remove it from the temp folder. Always a chance of getting a command that isn't working. Let me see, what did I put in wrong here? Oh. Need to put in my D switch. Some of these commands, you just got to take a little time putting them in, that's all. Now I'm going to link the Gradle to the user bin file, and I'll do that with a ln-s from the OPT Gradle 63 bin. To the user bin. Okay. Now that I have all that done, I'm going to add Python 2.7 as a the system comes loaded default with Python 3, but the tools that are required for the or used within the Visual Studio, they load with the 2.7. So I'm going to add both to the system basically. Now I'm going to, I'll just do a Python 2, show you the version that's loaded, 2.7.18, and version 3 is 3.8.10. Okay, now that I've loaded all of the prerequisites for this, all of these files, I'm going to load Visual Studio. Basically, once all the files are loaded, then you can start up Visual Studio and get the and I'll show you what the default looks like for the Visual Studio network, the one that they set up or loaded. And all I have to do at the command line is, once I have Visual Studio loaded on the system, then I just type in code and Visual Studio comes up. And over on the left, once I've loaded extensions, because I can go to my extension area of Visual Studio, and I have to type in the extensions I want to load are IBM blockchain, which is, once you type in IBM blockchain, you'll see the you'll load that first, and I have it loaded, so I have it installed, so I'm not gonna uninstall it. And you're gonna also want to put in Go, which I have loaded here. So you just type in Go and then install it. And then another one is Java, and you're going to want the extension pack. And once you install the extension pack, all of these will load as well. And you're also going to want this Spring initializer for Java. Once you have all of that loaded, then you go over to this little symbol on the left in Visual Studio, and you'll have the areas of your blockchain, IBM blockchain. They'll be loaded. There's no packages for smart contracts currently, and for the Fabric environment, this is the default one that they put in there. And if you click on it, it shows it's connected in this case, because I started it up. And under that, with nodes, you'll see there's a Peer 1, a CA, and an orderer. And below that are the Fabric gateways. So once this is all loaded up, you can go ahead, and what they're wanting you to do is to that will show you that the system is working. But then they're going to want you to go and tear down the Fabric environment, and then you build your own. But before I do all that, there is a command. If you end up with an error in Visual Studio, then I'll give you a couple of commands that you can put in to change that and fix the error. And basically what I'm trying to do is add my name to the group so that I don't get a permission failure. And also type in that allows you to become, or the new group, and you become a member of that group. I also do it's not that you have to do it, but I do it anyway, just so it, as a restart, it comes up. But hopefully this has been a little helpful anyway, and I'll probably end up doing another uh, blockchain type video, but directed a little more towards the smart contracts and using Visual Studio as a tool. So hope this was helpful. Thank you.